I put up a questionnaire on my Instagram where I basically said, ask me anything you want to about the sport of MMA and I will answer it. So I, Tony Has Died, will be answering your MMA questions. Let's get straight into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's try to get 300 likes on this video. First question on the list is, if Sugar Sean loses, do you think him and Diego should fight? I really don't think so. I think that there are plenty of fights for O'Malley at 135. Him versus Sandhagen. The rematch with Jan for 5 rounds. I think him versus Umar could be interesting. Yeah, I just think there's too many fights for O'Malley at 135 for him to move up to 145 at this point in his career. Next question is, if you guys didn't know, Azamat versus Torres Finney got booked. So Condit Spinning Goat Shit is asking me, do I think Bakoev or Finney's going to win? I honestly think Bakoev's going to win. Because if you look at Finney's last fight, he's literally just trying to hug his opponent. He's trying to not fight, is what Torres Finney did in his last fight. And if Bakoev even has like an ounce of fight IQ, he'll win. Bakoev's goal is basically to land at least 4 strikes per round and he'll win the fight, basically. This next question is, who fights next for the title shot at lightweight? Arman Sarukian or Justin Gaethje? Unfortunately, I don't think that Arman's going to get a title shot unless he fights again. So honestly, I think they could make Arman versus Gaethje to fight the winner of Oliveira versus Topuria. That would be a nice title eliminator, even because Arman already had his chance at the title and he blew it with the whole pulling out on one day. I think Arman's going to have to fight again to get a title shot, and I just don't think that Gaethje beating Fiziev is enough to put him into the title picture. So I think that maybe they should fight each other. I would still like to see Gaethje versus Hooker rebooked, maybe Arman versus Hooker, but I do think that both guys will need one more win to get the title shot. This guy asks, what's your favorite football team? Also, do you like rugby? I don't watch rugby. Unfortunately, my favorite football team is the Dallas Cowboys. All right, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Thoughts on Bryce Mitchell going down to bantamweight? Honestly, bro, I like it for him, bro. Because if Bryce Mitchell can make 135 consistently, he'll be one of the biggest 135ers because he was already a decently sized 145er. He'll not only be one of the bigger 135ers, but he'll also be one of the best grapplers in that division outside of like Umar and Merab, you know? So I do think that he could also have a lot of success with his style against a lot of the top people at 135. It really just depends on if his skill can translate, because we've seen a lot of times people going down and they're just not as good as they are, you know? So it depends if that's supposed to be his correct weight class, you know? But we'll see. If you became the new boss of the UFC, realistically, what's the first thing you're doing? I think you know the first thing that I'd be doing. It's called stripping John Jones of the belt, brother. Fuck that guy. All right, next question. This was a really good one. I really like this question a lot. Yoel Romero versus Hamzat. Who wins? I think that Yoel would win, bro. Because Chimaev on the feet is sloppy, right? Now listen, we've seen Yoel completely abandon his wrestling credentials, but that also means that nobody took Yoel down. Yoel had iron takedown defense. I don't know if Chimaev would be able to submit Yoel Romero in the first round. So if this is a 5-round fight, we've seen Yoel go 5 rounds with Izzy, 5 rounds with Robert Whittaker twice. We've seen him go 5 rounds with a lot of people. If we've seen Yoel go 5 rounds with a lot of people, if it's a 5-round fight, I would pick Yoel Romero to beat Chimaev. That's probably a crazy take, but I think Yoel has good enough takedown defense and submission defense to survive early against Chimaev. And then once it gets to those later rounds, I think Yoel's striking is probably too good for Hamzat. So, plus, Yoel Romero, he's a freak of nature, all right, man? Next one, we got, who is likely to be Yuri's next opponent? Realistically, first of all, your profile picture, you literally look like the nerd. You look like McLovin, bro. But I'm not going to roast you, all right? Realistically, I think that Yuri versus Olberg makes a lot of sense. And if Roundtree beats Jamal Hill, I could also say Yuri versus Roundtree. But I do think that Jamal Hill will probably beat Roundtree. I think Roundtree is very overrated. His best win's Anthony Smith. Let's keep it a buck, all right? But he is a fan favorite. He has a very fun style. I'm not going to hate on Roundtree, all right? But yeah, I do think that if Roundtree beats Hill, it will be Hill versus Yuri when Yuri gets done with school, or it will be Olberg versus Yuri, title eliminator. Next question, which is very similar to what we were just talking about. Who should get the title shot at light heavyweight next? I think that you have to do Pereira just because of what Pereira has done for the UFC in 2024, bro. He took 4 fights. He took 2 shots against Yuri on short notice, saved the UFC 295 card, fought Hill, fought Roundtree. What Pereira did for the company in 2024 is enough for him to get the title shot back. Defended 3 times as well. Who does that to Yuri? Who does that to Yuri Prochazka? But yeah, I think that makes sense, honestly, for Pereira to get the rematch. I don't know what's going on. Ankalaev said that Pereira is retired. I don't really believe anything that comes out of Ali Abdelaziz's, the snitch terrorist rat's mouth. So I think Pereira versus Ankalaev 2 is the fight that should be made. Next question. This one says, the young stroker, the body snatchers asks, should Wonder Boy retire? I think there's a lot of fun fights for Wonder Boy still left. I think that he was doing really good against Buckley before he got knocked out. Obviously, I don't think Wonder Boy is going to be in title contention anymore, but I don't think that's really the point that Wonder Boy should be going for. I think Wonder Boy should be going for fun, legacy fights, striking fights, like him versus Randy Brown would be cool, him versus MVP. We just want to see Wonder Boy have some fun fights with the striking. We know he's not going to be in title contention, so please do not make Wonder Boy versus Colby. Let's see Wonder Boy fight some other strikers, all right? The next one goes, thoughts on Chris Matino coming back to fight Wellmaker. You gotta feel bad for Chris Matino, bro. Because this guy went 0-2 in the UFC. His debut was against Sean O'Malley. How brutal is that? Your debut is against one of the best bantamweights of all time. Absolutely got styled on. Lost his next fight, got cut from the UFC. Since then, he's been on a 5 or 6 fight win streak, and they're re-signing him on short notice to fight Malcolm Wellmaker, the next hype prospect for the UFC. They're doing Chris Matino dirty, all right? Because people will recognize him from the Sean O'Malley highlights. But oh, there's that guy with the green hair. He just gets the fuck beat out of him every time. Wellmaker is very good. We'll see if he can finish Matino, unlike O'Malley, but I think Wellmaker is a very good fighter. What he did to Cameron Simon was very impressive. So yeah, I think the UFC is kind of doing Matino dirty. This one says, how do I see Topuria's future at lightweight? I can't really tell yet, bro. I don't know if his skills will translate to 155, and even if he does beat Oliveira. If he beats Arman and he beats Oliveira, then I think he clears out the rest of that division. But if he doesn't beat Arman, then he'll just be another guy at lightweight. But I really do think that he'll be pretty good. So this one says, what does Ilya need to do to reach GOAT status? I think that if he beats Oliveira, then beating Max, Volk, and Oliveira in a row will probably be the most impressive 3 wins in a row out of anybody. 3 top 20 all-time wins for Ilya if he defeats Charles. So what else does he need to do? I think he just needs to win 3 more fights. So if he beats Oliveira, if he wins 4 more fights, I think he'll be the GOAT. If he beats Oliveira, Sarukian, maybe throw in a Gaethje or throw in like a Patty. I don't know about Patty, but if he wins 4 more times, if he matches Khabib in title defenses, I think he'll be the GOAT. Because 2 title defenses at featherweight, 3 or 4 title fights at lightweight, I think it will be pretty clear. 7 title wins with 3 elite wins. Maybe 4 elite wins. I think that's what Ilya needs to do. Next question is, do you think Alex Pereira will ever be champion again? Oh man, I really don't know. I really hope he can beat Ankalaev, because I think Ankalaev just has no personality. I don't really care for Big Ank. It's literally just, anytime you see a Big Ank tweet, it's literally just Ali on his fucking Twitter. So I'm going to be cheering for Alex. Now, do I think he could beat Ankalaev in a rematch? I think it's definitely possible, but I don't think I'll be picking him to win. So next question is, do you think Alex Pereira can keep up with the heavyweights? This is a very interesting question, because I do think he would beat Cyril Gane. I do think that someone like Volkov could give him some problems. I think he'll beat someone like Pavlovich. I think he'd beat like Curtis Blades, but I don't know if he could beat Jailton Almeida, but just because of how fast Almeida is to shooting those takedowns. Like with Curtis Blades, at least you could say he's chinny, and Pereira would have 5 or 3 rounds to find his chin. I don't think he'll beat Aspinall in any world, bro. Like, Aspinall is just too fast, too powerful. We saw Sergey hit Aspinall first, and it didn't do shit to him. So I think Alex could keep up with most of the division, but I don't think he would beat John. I don't think he would beat Almeida. I don't think he would beat Aspinall. So yeah, that's who I think he would beat and who he doesn't beat. This one says, realistically, why do we think Jones is being so protected by the UFC? I think it's because they're negotiating a deal with Netflix right now. And with John Jones being the champion, the value of the UFC is so much higher. But it just is bullshit because we know he's probably not going to ever fight again. We've seen on Twitter him talking like he's retired. We've seen Aspinall say he's retired. We've seen that he's basically retired at this point. I think everyone could acknowledge that Jon Jones is retired. I bet the fucking fight gets announced like right before I drop this video or something. Realistically, I think Jon Jones is being protected just because of his value to the company. I think everyone knows that Jones is the GOAT and how much pay-per-view draws he brings in. But that's pussy shit, bro. We all know that's pussy shit. If the judges gave Reyes the win, would he be a long-reigning champion? Look, I like Dominic Reyes. I think that he honestly could go on a pretty good title run here at light heavyweight, especially if they match him up with Rakic or if they match him up with, I don't know, maybe the Jan rematch, they can give that to him. Who knows? But do I think he would have been a long-reigning champion? I don't think so because he literally lost to Blachowicz and he was basically a champion. So after he beat Jon retired, and they did a vacant title between Reyes and Jan. What would be the difference if Reyes won and, got the Jon rematch or fought Blachowicz, So I don't think Reyes would have been a title contender very long. This one says, I miss the Oral By memes. Bro, Oral By fights in 2 weeks. They're coming back, bro. Don't worry, I got you. This one says, Prime Robbie Lawler versus Prime Justin Gaethje. I think Prime Robbie Lawler's got that, bro. But, they just have to match autism versus, if they combine their autistic powers together and molded it, they would be an unstoppable force, right? But that's not what they're going to do. They're going to fight each other. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think that to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to be super well-rounded in one facility. And I think you either have to be super well-rounded or super focused in one aspect of your sport. So I think that Robbie Lawler would probably beat Gaethje. I think Gaethje's a little technically underwhelming, but he does have power. Like, it just depends on what version of Robbie Lawler we're talking about here. Next question, this is by Colby Obi. He says, what fighter are you letting date your sister, bro? Probably Wonder Boy, but I don't have a sister. Next question, this one is by Legally Segway. He says, genuine question. Merab has GOAT potential or nah? Like, all time? Yes, I think Merab does. But do I think he'll be able to beat Umar in the rematch? I don't think so. I think when him and Umar fight again, Umar is going to win that. This one says, are you British? Do I fucking sound British, bro? Next one says, what are your thoughts on Torres Finney? Dude, Torres Finney pisses me off, bro. He had so much potential to be a fucking fan favorite. Like, his story, his Dana White Contender Series fights, having 3 fights, him getting yelled at by Dana, his physique, he had so much potential to be a fan favorite. He just threw it down the window, bruh. Like, he literally just took his fucking potential, threw it into the trash can, lit it on fire for a homeless person, bro. Like, this one says, how does Anthony Hernandez stack up against the rest of the middleweight division? I think he's very susceptible to body shots, so I think anyone with like a lot of power will end up beating Anthony Hernandez in the end. But Anthony, his wrestling and his grappling is something to worry about at the highest level of that division, where there seems to be a lot of people that lack that. But he beats Adesanya at this stage in his career. I don't think he beats Dricus. I don't think he beats Chimaev just because Chimaev has really good wrestling himself and Dricus has really good takedown defense. I could see him beating Robert Whittaker. I could see him beating Kaio, perhaps, and maybe Imavov, but I would pick Imavov. But yeah, that's what I think. You get to decide Mario Batista's fate. Choose your method of execution. French guillotine, bro. This one says, do you think Izzy will win again before he retires? It depends on who they match him up with, bro. Anyone that's like a ranked up-and-comer, I don't think he beats. Maybe they'll do like a legacy fight or something for him. I could see him winning that. But at this stage, bro, I think Adesanya is done. This one says, what's your opinion on Bigfoot? We're talking about the mythical beast Bigfoot. You know, the one that lives in the forest and it's like an ape. I think he's very real. I think he's very real and lives among us. But if I'm talking about Bigfoot Silva, I think that he should have retired a long time ago. The fact that he's still fighting is crazy. Final question, it says, Leon Edwards versus Michael Morales prediction. You'll have to wait and find out, Dr. House MMA. To be completely honest, at this stage, I think that Michael Morales would probably win just because of how much bigger he's going to be than Leon. That's just an early prediction. That's not an official prediction, all right? Don't lock that in. But yeah, that will do it for the video. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We just hit 5,000 subscribers. Cannot thank you guys enough for that. That is awesome. And if you liked the video, well, I'll see you in the next one, I guess. Peace.